Hello there. My name is Corinna Maharani. I am an Ayurvedic practitioner with a specialty in PanchaKarma, and I am talking today to you about osteoporosis. Osteoporosis is a disease that impacts 200 million people in the world, so it's a very substantial number, and about 50% of women at the age of 60 experience osteoporosis, about 1/3 men. And by the age of 90, it is usually 2/3 of women who suffer from osteoporosis. So it's a disease that we need to be taken very seriously. And I would like to talk to you today about what can we do to prevent it, and what can PanchaKarma and Ayurveda do to help ease the symptoms and the cause of osteoporosis. And unfortunately, many times people only really learn about osteoporosis when they already had an accident and had any fractures or so. So important for us to really start looking at it early on. So I love to just share with you a brief PowerPoint here with you. Hope you enjoy it, and let me know if you have any questions. So the bone is structured in a very interesting way. The bone tissue actually has these kind of like hollow spaces to allow the bone to be light enough. And these hollow spaces can also increase with age, which is basically what's happening in osteoporosis when there's not enough bone tissue forming. So the bones become more brittle and the likelihood of breakage is greater. And that happens most in Vata time of life when we are older, when we're in our time when the body dries out more and there's less of build. So it's important for us to address osteoporosis with the idea that the body is a living organism. It is always building and replenishing itself like everything in nature. So at any time, 2 to 5% of the skeletal system is being rebuilt. A very fascinating statistic. And so there are two cells in our body, two different types of cells responsible for the building and replacing of old bone cells. And these are osteoblasts. They are there to build new bone tissue, and osteocytes. They help the bones to basically break down so that we can make fresh new bone tissue. And what hinders a good bone formation is usually a low-grade inflammation in the body. And it's important for us to work in PanchaKarma on reducing inflammation, which we do in multiple ways, which I will come to very soon. We also want to keep toxins low because proper bone formation depends on a flawless process of building and making tissues, and toxins hinder that process. It's also important to have a very good digestive system because it's in the digestive system that we break down the old and cook and make and build new tissues. That is basically the job of the digestive system. And so in PanchaKarma, we help to regulate our digestive fire. We help to reduce inflammation and encourage proper tissue building. Now, there are 7 different types of tissues in the body. The first tissue is the fluid part of the body, the lymph system. Then there comes the blood tissue, the muscle, the fat tissue. Then the bones, the bone marrow, and the reproductive system. And these are all built basically in a sequential way, meaning that the health of the blood tissue depends on the health of the fluid part of the body, the rasa, the lymph system. So as all the tissues' health depends a little bit on the health of the tissues that came before in the building process, Astidato is kind of like late in the building of tissues. Therefore, all the other tissues have to be built properly in order to make very, very good bone tissue. So it's important for us to really help rejuvenate and to increase good tissue building in the body. And to foster that process in PanchaKarma, we use a lot of rejuvenative therapies. One of the other reasons for osteoporosis is also the decrease in hormones, which usually happens in menopausal years. We're making less estrogen and less hormones, and all the regulations in regard to tissue building start to decline. So hormones are usually naturally regulated with the help of stress reduction techniques, proper diet, and herbs. And these are all things that we keep into account when we are treating people in PanchaKarma for osteoporosis. So therapies, for example, like Abhyanga are crucially important since we're using a lot of sesame oil in PanchaKarma. Sesame oil is known to be very rich in calcium. It gets transdermally absorbed. And we're also using sesame oil internally, for example, in bastis. These are internal oil enemas that nurture the colon from within and allow the mineral-rich, calcium-rich sesame oil to really get absorbed into the body, so the skin, to the transdermal tissues. Taking just calcium and supplements does not really work. The molecules are just too large and they just create plaque in the other vessels of the body. So we're also using oil massage to move the lymph system, to stimulate the flow and circulation of the tissues. We're using rejuvenative therapies with herbs and potions to, again, transdermally support the body's healing mechanism. And of course, Svedana, sweat therapies to open the channels and allow toxins to come out of the body so that it doesn't hinder proper bone tissue formation. And the benefits of oil massage are incredible. There's so much research, more than I can mention in just these short 7 minutes. But self-massage is, of course, also a great way to strengthen your bone tissues. So we're using, of course, in Ayurveda, not just plain oils and decoctions. We herbalize our preparations with particular herbs designed to strengthen the skeletal system. And we bring these into the body to regenerate and fortify the bone tissue. And everything is, of course, very custom designed for each person individually. Important is, of course, reduce inflammation in diet, such as, cut down alcohol, coffee, to, not eat inflammatory causing foods, to reduce vata doshas through relaxation, to, strength building, to exercise, especially strength training with weights, or to use impact training like running or climbing. And with that all in mind, I think we have a good idea on what all can be done. So PanchaKarma is a full rejuvenative process that, like I said, reduces inflammation, builds the body's integrity, helps reset a good digestive system, helps reduce toxins so the building of bone tissue is not hindered, and overall nurtures the body from deep within, where it's really needed in the inside. So I hope you found this interesting. I'd be very interested to tell you more about this process, and I'm looking forward to be talking to you soon.